The movie starts with Kara Robinson, a 15-year-old, waking up at her friend Jess's place. They plan to go to the nearby lake. Before leaving, Kara tells her mom, Deborah Johnson, about their trip. Jess then mentions Kara should water the plants before they go, and she needs to shower. Kara offers to water them, while Jess showers. Still in her pajamas, Kara goes outside to water the plants. While doing so, she notices a car passing by and then returning, stopping in front of Jess's house. A man gets out carrying brochures and asks if her parents are home. Kara explains it's her friend's house, and the man asks about her friend's parents. Kara says they're not home. The man hands her brochures but suddenly gets too close, and Kara feels a gun against her neck. Immediately, the man frightens Kara, warning her he'll shoot if she makes noise. Scared, she obeys him. They reach the car, and he tells her to get into a container in the backseat. He drives off with her. After a while, he stops and walks towards her. Kara moves to the backseat. He opens the container and says he's going to confine her, showing his weapon. While he fetches restraints from the trunk, Kara looks for a way out. She considers running but fears getting shot, so she waits. When he returns, he calmly ties her hands and legs and puts a gag in her mouth. Meanwhile, Jess prepares to go to the lake and looks around the front yard for Kara. Sadly, all she finds is the garden hose left on the ground. Terrified, she calls out for Kara but gets no response. Panicked, Jess calls Deborah to tell her Kara is missing. Deborah quickly contacts Kara's boyfriend, Ryan, but can't find out if they're together. Distressed, she calls the police and rushes to Jess's house. Later, the abductor takes the container to an apartment and brings Kara inside. He warns her to stay quiet as he removes her restraints. Then, he leads her to a bedroom and lays down rules. He says he's always armed, orders her to obey him, and insists she ask for his permission before doing anything. Afterwards, the kidnapper starts asking Kara about her life and writes down her answers in a notebook. He tells her to lie on the bed and be silent while he does disturbing things. Kara tries to follow the rules to stay alive. When he tells her to take a bath, she pays attention to details, noticing feminine products and a hairbrush with blonde hair, hinting that a woman might live there too. Meanwhile, Deborah calls her ex-husband, Ron, to see if Kara is with him. Ron says no, and Deborah sadly tells him Kara might be kidnapped. Later, a police officer comes to Jess's house and learns Kara has been missing for 2 hours. But the officer thinks Kara ran away on purpose and advises Deborah to wait in case Kara contacts them. While she waits for a chance to escape, Kara tries to gather information by talking to the man. She learns he used to be in the Navy, and he assures her he won't hurt her if she behaves. He even promises to release her before he leaves. When he's not watching, Kara considers escaping again, but decides it's too risky. Eventually, he lets her see his pets and talks about how he likes animals because they don't mind being confined. He warns Kara not to report him or she'll be in danger. Meanwhile, Deborah hears from a neighbor of Jess who saw a strange black car in the area, confirming her fears. Meanwhile, Sheriff Dale Stevens doesn't seem too worried about Kara's disappearance and suggests Deborah should go back home. Back at the abductor's house, Kara asks to use the restroom, thinking about escaping. But as she's about to close the door, the man appears suddenly, holding his gun and staring at her strangely. Later that evening, while he's making dinner, Kara tells him she's not hungry. Surprisingly, she offers to help with chores, and he asks her to sweep the kitchen floor. While she's looking around, Kara pays attention to details, memorizing names and numbers on the refrigerator, the knife's location, and the calendar on the wall. Later, the man checks the news to see if Kara's disappearance is reported, but finds nothing. He uses this to manipulate Kara, making her think nobody cares about her. Soon after, he takes her to the bedroom and tells her to hide in a container while he makes a call. He gags her and closes the lid, causing her to struggle for breath. When he sees her difficulty, he removes the gag and leaves the container open, but he's annoyed. Kara quietly cries, reminding herself she must survive. That night, the abductor gets a big box from under the bird cages but doesn't use it. The next morning, Kara escapes while he sleeps. She frees herself and leaves the room quietly. Determined to get away, Kara runs out the front door and stops a car with 2 men. She tells them about her abduction and pleads to take her to a police station. They agree to help, and she asks them to remember a specific apartment unit. Now safe, Kara reaches the police station and tells the front desk about her abduction. Lieutenant Aaron Rowland questions her while they wait for the missing persons report. Sergeant Bonnie Jennings talks to the rescuers who can't clearly remember the apartment. Bonnie mentions Deborah's report from the day before, and soon after, Deborah is told her daughter is found. Later, Bonnie asks Kara if she can recognize the captor's apartment. Though hesitant, Kara agrees to go back. At the complex, Kara, accompanied by the police, finds all units look the same. They meet a maintenance man and describe Kara's captor. Kara adds details about his pets. The maintenance man identifies apartment 301. Aaron takes Kara back to the station where she reunites with her mother. Meanwhile, at apartment 301, the officers use the key from the maintenance man to open the door, but find it empty. Afterwards, Bonnie shows Kara a set of photographs of potential suspects, and Kara quickly identifies a man. The abductor is revealed as Richard Evanitz, but he has already fled from the rented apartment. Kara helps the officer by sharing all the information she gathered, especially mentioning a large box under the bird cages. Inside the box, the police find possible evidence of Richard's past crimes, newspaper clippings, and a notebook. The clippings are about unsolved cases involving Sofia Silva and the Lisk sisters, who were also abducted. Richard seems to have a pattern of holding victims captive for days before drowning them and disposing of their bodies in the swamp. The notebook contains information about potential targets and their routiness, but Kara's name isn't there. Jim guesses that on the day Kara was abducted, Richard changed his target when the original one altered their routine. After that, Bonnie updates Jim on the progress, mentioning that Richard's wife, mother, and sister are all cooperating with the investigation. The mother allows them to search her house, where they find Richard's old car. The next day, Kara tells her mother she plans to see Ryan, which Deborah opposes strongly. Deborah thinks Kara should stay home until Richard is caught. However, Kara insists she won't let this event dictate her life. Meanwhile, Aaron questions Richard's wife, Ashley, who says she was away for the weekend and denies seeing Richard. Later, Richard's sister, Stephanie, arrives. She reveals that Richard had contacted her the day before. Upon hearing this, Aaron quickly tells Jim about the motel where they think Richard might be staying. But when they get there, they find out he's already gone. However, they do find Kara's shirt, suggesting he left in a rush. Also, the evidence they found matches that from the Sylvia and Lisk sisters' cases. Meanwhile, Sheriff Dale goes to the Johnsons' house and refers to Kara as a victim, saying Richard planned to hurt her. He says Kara was lucky not to be his next target, but Kara boldly says her escape wasn't luck. After that, Sheriff Jim visits Kara, calling her a survivor instead of a victim. He praises her strength and how she defended herself. This change in how Kara sees things helps her feel stronger about her situation. Later, Deborah asks Kara to stay home, but Kara is determined to get back to her normal life. She goes with Jess to a baseball game where she wishes Ryan good luck before the match starts. Meanwhile, Aaron makes a big discovery. Richard used his cell phone in Jacksonville, Florida, just 15 minutes ago. Bonnie updates that they reached Pamela, Richard's sister, in Bradenton. Pamela confirms Richard called her and planned to meet outside a restaurant. They inform the Bradenton Police Department, warning them Richard might be heading there. Soon after, the Bradenton officers see Richard, and he runs away. As one officer chases him on foot, the other stays back, updating their location on the radio before joining in the pursuit by car. Eventually, they corner Richard, leaving him with no way out. Desperate, Richard takes his own life with his own gun. Meanwhile, as Ryan hits a home run, the crowd cheers for his success, unaware that the nightmare is ending. Suddenly, Kara realizes there won't be a trial, sparing her loved ones from the painful details of her abduction. She apologizes to her mother and expresses her determination to reclaim her freedom, refusing to let the trauma hold her back. Deborah admits to being too controlling and unsure how to handle things. Kara comforts her, saying that while they can't erase what happened, it doesn't define her, as she's a survivor.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay connected with us.